A lot of you really believe that you do a good job of hiding your anti-blackness, and I can promise you that you do not. When I tell you that I actually do the due diligence in going through people's pages before I determine that they're being unfair, specifically when it comes to criticizing the Democrats and only the Democrats, and claiming to be leftists, doing everything in their power to ensure that the Democratic Party loses and not the Republican Party, a lot of their critiques, amazingly, almost as if it's intended, falls along the lines of where black voters traditionally will advocate for. What a lot of non-black people fail to do in every single election is risk analysis. This is risk analysis that black voters have to do that, again, non-black voters don't typically do. For a lot of non-black voters, they are so convinced in their mind that no matter who wins, they're going to be fine, or no matter who wins, it's going to be the same outcome. Now, with black voters, we know that that's not true. There's always going to be one party that wants to harm us more than the other party. So we actually do listen to both parties and vote against the party that we know will cause the most amount of harm to our community. And by proxy, if we are paying attention to what's happening to our community, the risk analysis that we do every single election cycle, we know that if the candidate wins that we ultimately decided to support, the other communities, the other marginalized groups will benefit from that win. You see, a lot of you show your anti-blackness when we go through your material, and the only things that you're criticizing, the only people that you're criticizing happen to be black politicians and black content creators. You weaponize your audience against black people. You weaponize your black friends against black people, as if that's not something that we have seen throughout the generations, where black people have sided with other groups of people against the black community. We see your anti-blackness for what it is. It's the fact that a lot of you actually believe that black people are incapable. And this is when you use your black friends and you weaponize them against us, because they have made these arguments that black people are incapable of doing the risk analysis that we do every single election cycle. And we are simply just supporting these politicians because they are black, or we believe that they're going to give a handout to the black community. When you know, and black people that allow themselves to be weaponized in that way know that that is simply not true. You see, when black people vote in this country, we always vote for harm reduction, because we know this country better than most non-black people, including most of the white people. Because a lot of us can trace our generations back to at least the 1700s. We've been here longer. We know what this country is capable of, and a lot of you simply do not. I remember seeing the article of Khalil Mahmoud's wife basically saying, reaffirming what I already knew. She never believed that any of the stuff that's happening now would happen. This is literally her words. She said, I never expected this to happen to me because we are here legally. Even though black people, black voters specifically, were telling people that as bad as you think it is now, it can always be worse. And instead of people reaffirming that those black people were right, they continue to attack black people, showing us their anti-blackness. See, we don't ask people to blindly support Democrats. We don't ask people to just give Cory Booker a participation trophy. We tell you to acknowledge the points that were being made, the historic significance of certain things, and how black people have protected your asses even when you weren't willing to protect us. What Cory Booker did was not something to spit at. It wasn't something to scoff at. And unfortunately, a lot of non-black people, and primarily white leftists, can't seem to wrap their minds around how effective that was. You see, he didn't just do a rally with a lot of his fans, people that already like him. He filibustered for 25 hours, telling the stories of people that are significantly negatively impacted by the Trump administration. He did something. And as much as a lot of these performative, faux revolutionary, faux activist, leftist, slacktivists online don't want to acknowledge, he did more than what a lot of you could ever do. You see, the thing about being black in this country is we understand that when it comes to us, when it comes to being black, we are both seen as expendable and valuable at the same time. We're valuable to a lot of you because you know that we're going to organize and we're going to fight for what we believe we are owed. And you feel that you can benefit from that. You can benefit from our activism. You can benefit from our organization. You can benefit from our willingness to fight. But we are also expendable to a lot of you, and we know that. And as soon as you get the first opportunity to side with white supremacists, you are going to do that. And that's what we saw this election cycle. And we won't forget.
I'm just going to start asking questions. Like, for instance, one, when are we going to accept that he's trying to be a dictator? He's not hiding it. He hasn't hid it at all. And depending on how you look at it, he's doing a pretty good job. Two, when are we going to accept that he does not care about people? I saw this man get on Rachel Maddow, I think, and was saying like, oh, Trump fired the man that saved his life when he got COVID, and he still fired him. If he knew that, then it would be no, it wouldn't. He probably already knows and doesn't give a fuck. Can we stop acting like he cares? He doesn't care. Assume that he doesn't give a fuck, okay? Because that's going to be more accurate. He don't give a fuck that he saved his life. You're just setting yourself up to be disappointed at that point. When are we going to stop acting like hard evidence and logic is going to make MAGA people not MAGA anymore? They've already proven they don't give a fuck about that. We need to accept that. Share the information, but understand that until they want to understand, they're not going to. They're in a cult. That is how that works. You present the information if you want to, if you care to, and hope one day that they get it. Y'all getting upset because all this logical shit is happening, and you're like, do you see now? Do you see? No, they don't. That's the whole point. It's okay. Just keep doing your thing, but don't let it get you bent out of shape, okay? Also, when are we going to accept that there are ways in which he's very much not stupid? Like, he is not stupid in every regard, okay? There are some things he's very aware of what he's doing, and he's doing it intentionally. Like people are doing themselves a disservice by thinking every bad thing that happens is because they're stupid. Sometimes it's just because they suck. It's because they're bad people. That's it. There ain't much else to it. Also, when are we going to accept that the contest happened? Because, y'all, that was 6 months ago. Okay. And at this point, we deep in this thing. Okay. Now, if you want to have a conversation about some weird data and looking into some things, that's one thing. Even if you want to unpack the reasons behind some of the decision making we saw last year, I'll give it to you. But this whole going back and forth thing, y'all, we gotta move on, okay? It might be time to go and get therapy or talking to somebody in your community and stuff. And I don't say that in a condescending way. I'm being so serious. Because it's not going to be emotionally gratifying to come on this app. I want better for us. That's why. I would think you probably want to use your emotional energy in a different place, considering how little emotional energy a lot of us have. But I'm also making assumptions, so if it don't apply, just ignore me. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff to focus on right now. That one's not gonna be rectified on this app. My last question for now: when are we gonna start talking about what we actually want things to look like for real, and rooted in reality? Okay, we have what we want in theory and what's actually possible and probable. What amendments we trying to add to the Constitution? What does the future look like? What does leadership look like? How are we recovering? Because we need to do something. Because if we don't, this is gonna happen again. And this time they're gonna have a blueprint. So
Hello tribe, welcome to this one here. I go by Sherlock. That is even in case it's your first time that you're bumping across this one here. Now, in today's day, and I'm gonna read something small here that really has gotten my attention. The alleged anti-blackness in political discourse. Some individuals, especially online and online, presents critiques of the Democratic Party that seem to ignore or downplay black political interest and lived experiences. And of course, the selective criticism of Democrats, a trend that exists where self-proclaimed leftists, that is, disproportionately criticize Democrats while neglecting the equal or greater harms posed by the Republicans and undermining the strategic voting considerations of the black communities. Now, and the black voters practice, of course, of the risk analysis here. We need to look at that. How do the black voters practice that risk analysis? Because they are the ones who find themselves. They need to weigh out which one is which. Now, unlike many non-black voters, black voters are consistently engaged in assessing the political threats, and because they know elections can have, real material consequences for their safety and, of course, their rights. And, of course, without forgetting the myth of both sides are the same. We talk about Democrats or Republicans here. So the assumptions that both political parties have equal impacts is misleading, especially for marginalized communities that experience direct harm depending on who is in power. We are seeing that one from the latest developments in this particular case. And, of course, the voting as a defensive act. Many black voters, participating in elections is not about full support for a party. I also do stand corrected. Let me know that one on the comment section. That for many black voters, participating in elections is not about full support for a party. It's about voting against the greater threat to their community. Let's think about this. The audience and the perspectives. Consider who is making political critiques and why. Now, are they accounting for the systemic risks black communities face? Whose lived experiences is being centered in the analysis? Now, excuse me. And then, of course, the power dynamics in political narratives. How political conversations are shaped by privilege. Who can afford to disengage or say both parties are the same? And of course, who suffers the consequences if one party gains power? And of course, the role of historical context, reflecting on the historical context of black political behaviors in the US. How generational voters have been forced to weigh harm reduction of ideological purity. And of course, use the commentary to challenge people who wear leftists as a badge, but whose actions may inadvertently, that is, support outcomes that harm black communities. Guys, again, that has always been my opinion. I also do stand corrected. Let me know that on the comment section. But before I let you go, we're going to watch from different quarters, different statements which are made by different people that are circled back at the end of it with a very short critical analysis over the same, because this one has been lengthy. Let's keep on watching.
I'm upset once again. So we're gonna fucking talk about it, okay? I was invited to this Unfuck America tour thing, and I was excited about it. I had been waiting for somebody to organize something to rival this whole Charlie Kirk campus to campus thing. But after exactly 7 days since the launch, a week, it has crashed and burned. And as I'm gaining more details about what happened since I couldn't attend like the on the ground event, I'm going over the things that should have been accounted for that weren't, and things that were just fucking stupid. I had to take the filter off. I apologize, but I'm gonna list them. Fuck it. You can call it petty. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. But welcome to the profile. It always hasn't been this. You should have been here in 2021 when it was real shit. You're about to get some of it right now, okay? First of all, let's be real. Let's be real. Big mistake here. I'm sorry. Everybody's voice matters. But 40 deep? 40 deep. 40 deep. The hierarchy will be challenged. It's too many minds. It's too many opinions. I know we all have the same political view and most likely the same worldview and the same mission. But when you're trying to organize, the hierarchy will be challenged. That's a lot of fucking people. That's why you don't see Charlie Kirk with fucking Emily Wilson and Your Body, My Choice motherfucker. And I think you don't see them all grouped up going from campus to campus. It's just Charlie and his team. Okay, that was a fucking mistake. Second of all, if I find out you motherfuckers didn't get any fucking paperwork from the college, you didn't tell Texas A&M, I stopped asking questions when y'all told me, hey, we've been doing this for years. I said, oh, experience? Sure. I was so you mean to tell me y'all ain't signed no permit? No, hey, we gonna be here too? The fuck? In the South of all places, I went to LSU. You think I'm going to show up with 40 motherfuckers unannounced in Baton Rouge? And y'all didn't sign no motherfucking paper? Mistake. Then we got all this racist shit. God damn. We need a wheelchair because we always shoot ourselves in the motherfucking foot. I never thought I would say what I'm about to say. I just saw a video. I'm doing the Trump hands right now. That's how fucking crazy this is. I just saw a video. And in part of the video, I had to say, okay, Charlie Kirk, you're right there. Do you think that me, a nigga, would ever say, you know what I'm saying? So, for that to happen, he said, y'all are too busy arguing about what was racist and who said the racist thing and this. Y'all too busy arguing amongst yourselves to even organize a successful tour. And in that regard, he's right. Some offensive shit was said. Should not have fucking happened. But while we deal with that, motherfuckers donating to Turning Point day. I explained it this way. Stay with me, okay? Somebody in power. There's somebody in power, a white man in power. And he says, hey, I'm going to give all the police officers immunity from the law so they can do their job, knowing damn well how that's probably going to go for black people. You know what I'm saying? And I speak out and rival that. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then somebody that's white comes along and says, hey, I'm an ally. I'm going to help you rival that. I don't like that either because I know how that can affect you and I care about that, right? And then I say, okay, let's organize. Let's get a plan to rival this, okay? Let's go get some lunch. And she says, oh, where do you want to go? You want to go get some fried chicken? And then I say, what the fuck? Why would you just assume that I would want to go get some fried chicken? Are you fucking racist, you racist bitch? And then she's like, no, I'm not racist. I was trying to help you. You're like, no, you're fucking racist. And we're going to talk about that. So we start going back and forth about that. Well, this motherfucker already gave police officers immunity from prosecution and 10 other dumbass ideas. While we're over here, back and forth. You get the fuck I'm saying? So is the back and forth warranted? Yes. But this motherfucker over here hates us both. Definitely. So while we're trying to point out faults amongst each other, this motherfucker don't give a shit about none of that. He want us in C-Cut. Focus. Fuck. Charlie Kirk was also right when he said this shit ain't easy. I have almost 620,000 followers on TikTok, and I walk out every day like I ain't shit. We don't need to assume that this following that we've built on this platform gives us the power to just waltz onto a campus with even the planning that went into it and just assume it's going to go well. Let me sign a college permit. It ain't even got to be where Charlie Kirk is. Social media is everywhere. If he goes to Texas A&M, we can go to LSU. If he goes to Arkansas, we can go to Tennessee. If he goes to South Carolina, we can go to UCLA. And push the media around it. The goal is to show that it is most definitely not every college student that's just sipping this MAGA Kool-Aid, as they want you to believe. But it's hard to accomplish that mission and to put that content into the world when there's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Focus! It's not easy. It takes time. You can't just be a big creator, have a large following on TikTok and think that it's just magically going to happen. Building blocks. Slowly but surely. Permits. Permission. Legal way. As crazy as that sounds in Trump's America, and I'm not implying that they did anything illegal, but more definites. Also, I'll wrap this up by saying, oh man, I cannot stand trying to be politically correct. This shit is not me. In an event space, I turn that bitch up. Let's say group of creators organize 5 total, so there's not too many minds in the pot. They start their own tour. Same event, just left ideology, democratic perspective. Turn that bitch up. I haven't seen that tactic yet. Turn that motherfucker up. The point is to draw people in so that they can either debate your mindset or support your mindset. So if I've had a long day at work and I'm already tired, my grocery bill was fucking $900. It's going to last me 13 days. Do you think I just want to walk out into the fucking hot sun and stand in front of a microphone and hear 2 people go back and forth? No, but if I heard there was Olive Garden catering and a DJ for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and a fucking lemonade stand with snow cones, I'll probably be at that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Turn that motherfucker up. Who planned this shit? Bitch, god damn, y'all, I got the message and I said, finally, somebody to rival this motherfucker. And then a week later, I'm like, show me faces. Give me, I want the motherfucker. I was watching from the nosebleed, bitch. I work a lot. I'm gonna be a part of this to the best of my motherfucking ability. And then as I look back, bitch, y'all made it worse. Fuck. God, y'all done upset me to my core. Fuck. You put an L on the scoreboard. And you didn't even have to. Shit! God damn it.
Black people shouldn't show up to anybody's protest. And I'm going to say that until I'm blue in the face. Because for a lot of these people that are imploring that black people show up, if the policies that Donald Trump is currently putting forth were not directly negatively impacting them, and they were only negatively impacting African Americans, black people, those people wouldn't be showing up for us. A lot of those people that are now imploring unity in the face of fascism, in the face of a Donald Trump presidency, if his policies were only specifically, solely, entirely impacting the African American community, black people in general, these people would be sitting at home applauding their choice to either sit this election out or to vote for Donald Trump. Contributing to his win directly or indirectly by doing nothing to stop him from winning. They would have nothing to say if it were just us that were struggling under the weight of a Donald Trump presidency. So what they're doing right now is they're trying to guilt black people into showing up for them, right? Attempting to rewrite history and pretend that we weren't the ones that were telling them that it was going to get as bad as it now is. And that they didn't tell us that we were being hyperbolic. We were overreacting. We were taking things out of context. If Kamala won, there would be no difference. If Donald Trump wins, there's going to be no difference because neither one of them are different from each other and they are exactly the same. And now they're seeing exactly what we were saying would happen. Everything that this country could be. And they're not taking into account that we were simply trying to warn them that as bad as this country is, or you believed it was in last year around election time, that it could always be worse. You heard this man say out of his mouth that he was going to deport hundreds of millions of immigrants. There are not hundreds of millions of illegal immigrants in the United States. You heard this man say that he was going to go after these pro-Palestinian protesters, what he labeled them as pro-Hamas protesters. If they held illegal protests, meaning he disagrees with the protests, he would then go after them with the fury of the federal government, which is what he's doing right now. You heard this man say that whatever Biden is doing is not enough for the Israeli government, and he would do everything in his power to ensure that Israel has the money to finish the job. And he would not stand in the way, like Biden, who's acting like a Palestinian, using Palestinian as a racial slur. You consistently saw what was in Project 2025 when it pertains to the LGBTQ community and all of these different marginalized communities in this country. You knew what that was about. That was a 900-page manifesto that we are seeing brought to life because Donald Trump doesn't have any checks and balances on him. Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump is leading them from the White House. They control every level of government. You have literally crippled the Democratic Party to do nothing. If it were simply that black people were being impacted by this, African Americans more specifically, being impacted by this, a lot of these groups that either contributed to Donald Trump's win directly by voting for him or telling people to vote against Kamala Harris to ensure that Kamala Harris's loss happened, that's directly. And indirectly by sitting home and not doing anything would not be protesting. So therefore, we need to sit this out. Let them do what they need to do to organize for themselves. Because they didn't take into account our words when we were telling them that the country could be worse. They ignored us then. So let them ignore us now at their protest.
Welcome back again, tribe. I told you that I'll circle back by the end of this particular show with my own opinion, thoughtful, insightful, critical analysis of the same. So the critique of these particular individuals, some of the non-black self-identified leftists, they focus heavily on attacking the Democratic Party while ignoring the greater threat posed by the Republicans rather. And this behavior often overlooks the strategic and risk-based voting decisions that black communities make, and decisions grounded in lived or lived experiences and a need for harm reduction. While some voters treat both parties as equally bad, black voters tend to assess which party poses the most immediate danger and vote accordingly. As usual, guys, that has always been my opinion. I also do stand corrected. I go by Sherlock once again. If in case you're bumping across this particular channel for the first time, consider giving me that particular subscription a like, and do dropping a comment on the comment section as we're keeping this conversation live and going. See you in the next one.